everyone, and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm taking you on a road trip. I'm on my way over to one of my younger sister's house to visit for a few hours. Her husband is a deer hunter and he's out in the deer woods, so she's by herself. So she sent me a text and said come over and we can eat and visit. So that's what I'm doing. Last time I saw her was back in, I guess it was August, at my mom's funeral. So it's been a few months, and I don't spend a lot of time over there with her as a general rule. Even, outside of funerals, I just don't go over there. She lives in another town about about 15 minutes away. 15, 20 minutes, depends on how fast you drive and what road you take. If you take the back road, you can probably get there faster because you can speed a little bit, but I'm not doing that. I'm taking the highway. I'm going down the main road right now, which you guys have been down this road before and seen it. So I'm fixing to get out on the highway, and y'all get to see new parts of Missouri on the highway. There won't be a whole lot to see. Oh, I see a guy's putting his yard sale stuff out for sale. Wouldn't think there'd be yard sales this late in the year. So anyway, that's what's happening. Let me see if I can move this a little bit better. Get this stuff out of y'all's way. Oops. Sorry about that, you guys. I was trying to make it where you guys could see the road a little bit better. And all this extra stuff, but I could have done that whenever I was backing out of the driveway. It would have been a little bit safer than trying to do it going down the road. Now, I have been out on this highway before with you guys. Last year when I used to work, and I took you guys to work with me one day, and this is the same road that I drove into work, but I turned off at a different exit to get to my sister's house. So you actually won't be seeing the whole entire strip again, but you'll be getting to see the part of the town on what we call the outside of Dexter. There's a cemetery. I don't know if you can see it here over on the left. Probably won't. You might. Yeah, you can see it right there. That's the City of Dexter Cemetery. There's actually 3 cemeteries here, and that's the big one. That's the main one. My mama and my daddy's buried at one of the smaller ones down in town in one of the on one of the main streets. Well, not really Main Street, I guess. One of the city streets in town. And there's a smaller cemetery out there. That's where they're buried. I made some fried rice the other day. And I'm going to make it and do a video for you guys so you can try it too if you guys like fried rice. It's one that I've had in my family for quite a few years. And it always turns out good. The fried rice is basically, we just use it for a whole entire meal without anything because it's got vegetables in it. There's meat, rice, and vegetables in it. It's basically a meal all just by itself. So I'm going to show you guys how I do that. And then I also am going to make a video of one of the dog treats that I make for Jade because she's just about out. I made one batch and she's just about finished all of it. So I'm going to make her another one. And I went down the basement. I was going through my Christmas totes to try to find my Christmas decorations and gifts and stuff because I buy gifts all year long and stick them in these totes down in the basement. Then when Christmas comes, I get them out and pick out who I'm going to give them to and wrap them and send them. So that's what I was doing, and while I was down there, I had forgotten that I found 2 cookie cutters that somebody had gave me for Christmas. One of them's in the shape of Santa's head, and the other one is Christmas tree. So since we're coming up on the Christmas holiday, I'm going to make Jade's dog treats in the shape of Christmas. So she'll have Santa's head and Christmas trees. So I went ahead and brought those up and washed them and put them in my little bag where I've got my cookie cutters at. As you can tell, there ain't much going on this road. This pretty much is on either side. What you're seeing here on the left is the same thing. It's fields. Cotton, soybean, rice. I think there's some rice fields out there. Pretty much the same thing on either side. There's a church over here that I used to go to. Y'all can't see it because it's on the left. But all this woods and stuff you see, and that's pretty much all that is along this road. Now this road here, this is the road that I traveled when I was working in that factory. Here comes a truck got by. This road here is the one that I traveled on when I was working in Sikeston at that factory. I worked there for almost 20 years. So every morning, no matter what the weather was, this is the road that I got up and drove to work in. And we went to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I generally got to work on the parking lot at 5. Because I'm one of them kind of people that don't like to take chances. Anything could happen, on your way to work. I always allow myself plenty enough time to get to my jobs. So I would always leave an hour ahead of time. So I would basically leave my house around 4:15, 4:30 in the morning. So it was always dark. And that way I got to work by 5, and then I would sit on the parking lot and listen to my radio until the team leader got there and opened the door. And she generally got there at 5:30 and opened the door at 5:30. So I didn't have to stay outside all that long. Now, if I wanted to sit out there until 6 and listen to my radio, I could. But usually I went in at 5:30, especially if it was hot outside and I wanted to be under the air conditioner, or if it was really cold and I wanted to get in where it was warm. But like I say, I worked there 20 years. It was always dark when I went to work. Now, depending on the time change, it would be daylight. And depending on what hours we were working, there was times when we worked 10-hour days. We would work over 2 hours. So it would be dark when I got off. So it was dark going to work and coming home. And then on Fridays, when I cashed my check over there, I always cashed it in that town because I banked over there too. And I had bills to pay over there. And then I did my grocery shopping at Aldi's and went to Walmart to get anything that I couldn't get at Aldi's. And sometimes on Fridays it was dark. Because a lot of times I'd spent several hours over there cashing my check, putting gas in the car, paying this bill, paying that bill, then going grocery shopping. I'd always stop and get something to eat on the way home. And then through Walmart, depending on how crowded it was. So I'm kind of glad them days are behind me because I can't see very good in the dark anyway, especially now as I'm older. And right there before I quit, it was getting to where it was hard for me to see at night. So that's kind of a blessing that I was able to give that up. I actually retired early at 62 from there, which I kind of regret that I did, because if I could have just hung in there those last 3 years and retired at 65, I could have drew full benefits. So I'm not getting my full benefits on my Social Security check. I'm getting partial because I took early retirement. But I took early retirement and come back over here and went to work at a part-time job over here. And really, I wish that I had held off on filing for my Social Security and had just quit that job over there and come to Dexter and found me a full-time job working in Dexter. you know, where I wouldn't have to drive so far, and worked those last 3 years in Dexter. Because I was able to find jobs over here. You know, I worked full-time at the donut shop when I worked there. Almost full-time when I worked at the Dollar Tree. I worked anywhere from 20 to 35 hours at the Dollar Tree. And then I worked anywhere from 8 to 15 hours at the grocery store. And I know that I could have asked them to give me more days, and they gladly would have. Because I worked at that grocery store for 14 years. Because I was working at the grocery store along with my full-time job at the factory. I worked there Monday through Fridays, and then Saturday and Sunday I worked at the grocery store. So once I retired from the factory, I could have come over there and said, hey, I'm off Monday to Friday now if you guys want to use me through the week. And I know they would have gave me some time through the week. Because they were always hiring people, always came and went. My main job there at the grocery store when I started was the deli, running the meat slicer. You know, slicing bologna and ham and cheese and stuff. Making salads, making sandwiches, fixing party trays. I also ran the cash register and served plates off of a steam table. We sold lunches, plate lunches there. So when somebody wanted to buy fried chicken with mashed potatoes and gravy and corn or whatever, I would fix the plate and run the register too. So I was kind of a person that could do a lot of different things. And after a while, I graduated, or demoted, if you want to call it whatever, from the meat slicer to the donut job, which took me back in the kitchen. So I was no longer out front with the customers. And I came in early on that job too. I had to be there at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, I think. I can't remember exactly. I think it was 4:30, 4 or 4:30. And make the donuts so that I could have them out when the store opened at 7. Because they opened the door at 7 and people were lined up out there to come in and get donuts and hot plates. Because they had the breakfast buffet out there then too, with biscuits and gravy and ham and bacon and mashed potatoes and stuff. So people would come for that too, so they could get their plates of food to take to work with them. So I kind of worked all over. Now, I never did stocking, you know, filled the shelves or anything like that. The only stocking that I did was when we ran out of things in the kitchen and I had to go out and get it off the shelves in the store, you know, supplies for cooking the meals and stuff. And when the trucks would run, they would bring the donuts and the frosting and the lids and the containers and stuff. And I had to put that away. You know, I had to put the donuts in the freezer and the icing in the ice box, the walk-in cooler, we called it, and stuff like that. But I really liked working there. And basically, the only reason I left that job, the manager that I started under retired, or he went to work at another store, basically. And they hired a new manager, and then there was conflict between me and her. And I was having problems getting along with her, and she seemed to be unsatisfied with my work, which doesn't make any sense because I was there for 14 years, and other bosses that worked there never had any problems with me. But she did, and so the conflict became too stressful, so I quit. And the reason that I know that the conflict part was hers, because when I went to work, after I left those jobs and I went to work at that grocery store at Bloomfield, the guy who was the manager there was my old manager from that store. And when I went in and asked him for a job, he hired me on the spot. I filled out the application. He took me to the back to interview me. And he said, I'm not even going to bother with interviewing you because I know what I'm getting. He said, you worked for me before and I never had any problems with you. And I don't expect I'm going to have any problems with you now. And so we just sat there and talked and visited about old times and talked about people we knew and acquaintances and stuff instead of interviewing. So that right there tells you they didn't have any problem with my work and my attendance at that store because he hired me on the spot, remembering what a good worker I was when I worked there at the store for him. She just had conflict with me. But I wasn't the only one that left because of her. There was a whole bunch of people that left after she came to work there. And one of them was a guy that had started working there out of high school. And I think he had been there 40 years. And he got fed up with her and he walked out. He was like an assistant manager there too, and he just got tired of putting up with her. And he walked out. So now I'm turning off the road. This is the little town that my sister lives in. And there ain't much along this road either. You'll see a few houses in a minute up here on the left. There's like a subdivision out here. It's where my niece lives. And trees and fields and basically the same thing you saw the whole way over here. There's a telephone tower, big old telephone tower right there. Those houses that you see right there out there on the left.
Would you like to run a vehicle health report? Please select yes or remind me later on the screen.
My car is talking to me. Anyway, there's the housing project where my niece lives. Now I have to slow down a little bit because the cops are really, really enforcing the speed limit here, and it's 45. They will flat get after your butt if you're caught speeding. So I have to drop it down a little bit. And you'll see that over here, this little green trailer that's coming up here. Can you see it right here on the left? That green trailer right there. When I first moved, I used to live in this town. When I first came over here, I almost rented that trailer. The guy that had it wanted me to rent it, but I didn't like the way the bathroom was laid out. You had to kind of like go down a hallway and turn around a sharp curve and step up to get into the bathroom. And I knew that I would be going to the bathroom a lot in the dark, so I didn't want to mess with it. So I found another trailer. He had several trailers and houses. He had another one that I liked better that was 2 bedrooms for pretty much the same price. And I rented that one. And I put carpeting down in it and painted it and fixed it up real nice. And when I moved out, I put a deposit down. He gave me my deposit back. And he told me, he said, girl, he said, this trailer looks better now than it did when you moved in. He said, you really did a lot and fixed it up nice. Because I did. I painted the whole entire thing and put new carpeting down, new linoleum in the kitchen, painted the kitchen cabinets. One of the cabinet doors was tore off. My brother-in-law fixed that for me. I mean, I did a lot of work in it because it was my home. And I wanted it to look nice because that's where I was going to live. And I think I lived there for, I'm wanting to say 2 years until I met my husband and got married. And right up here is where I turn to get to my sister's house. And this is the street right here that my mama used to live on. You won't be able to see it up here, but this house over here on the left, that's where my mom and my sister used to live whenever my mom was alive. Some new people living in it. And my other sister used to live there. My whole family lived over in this town. At one time I lived over here. Three of my sisters lived over here, my mom. And then my sister's house, if you'll look, I think you'll be able to see it. Right up here where I'm turning on the right. See that big house right there? That's where my sister lives. That is where I'm going. So I'm going to turn into her driveway. I don't think she'll be going anywhere. I'm going to park over here just in case she does want to go somewhere, so we won't have to shuffle around with the cars. All right. So thank you guys for riding over here with me and keeping me company. And I'll see y'all in the next video, and y'all come back and see me any old time. Bye for this one.